So let me ask you this, when you're going to the appointment, do you bring other products with you, or are you prepared for whatever happens? I mean, somebody might have an issue that you don't even know about, but you want your products with you. Is that right?
That's true, because we may, just as you talk to people about listening, what are they saying? What started the conversation in the first place, So if they're saying, oh, well, my joints are aching, or, of course I can talk about the that it's also anti-inflammatory, but, we also have other products. First of all, I always have my pendant on, I always have my phone with me, so I always have a cell guard, universal guard, or my pendant, but I try very hard to always have a sleeve or a smart circle with me now, because those are things that we can address joint issues. And as we all know, those are also things where sometimes within minutes, somebody can experience a difference.
So I'm glad you brought that up. It's bringing those products and listening and not waiting until the end. Oh, by the way, I'm going to leave these with you too. You want to catch something that's happening with them that you can put a smart sleeve or a smart strip on, or a pendant even, so that while you're doing your demonstrations with the water, something could happen. And that happens, like you said, it happens a lot. And when someone gets a result, magic happens for sure. So that's good. I'm glad you're doing that. Okay, so now we're prepared. You've got your water ready. You've got all the things that you're going to go do the appointment like you're going to do today. You're prepared. And now let's say we're at the appointment. So you're at the appointment. Do you do product demonstrations? What do you do to demo the products while you're with the person?
I like to, the saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. I feel like you can tell somebody all day long about what our products do as far as reducing radiation exposure. But when you do a cell phone product demonstration with them, it blows them away, And so if I can, I'll do a pendant test, I'll do a cell phone test, I'll do a muscle test with the water as well, and have them test first without any water, then with the water they typically drink, and then ours, because there's a dramatic result there too. So I think any product demonstration you can do right then puts that opens up their mind to, wow, this stuff's different. I'm excited to try this.
So let's just briefly talk about the water muscle checking or muscle testing. How do you do that? What's the process?
I just have them stand with their feet together. I ask them if I can push, put some resistance on their arm. I always have my other arm on their wrist. I do a baseline, so first without anything, and they're pretty strong, and then I will have them take a sip, and it literally less than an ounce of whatever water they drink. Usually you will see their arm go weak, and then I just pour a little bit right out of this bottle and have them do the eye water, and they're rock solid strong. Okay. So really simple, arm out, 1, 2, 3.
And you could do that same thing with a spray bottle too, right? We've
Absolutely
done it at your house. I've seen that before. Okay. And then, of course, if you hear from them, anything else that's happening with them as you're having a conversation. And honestly, when you do these appointments, people open up to us and talk about some of the things that are going on, shoulder problem, back problem, can't sleep at night. So you just got to be open to all of that. And then if they do, then you've got other things that they could try out. I think also, well, we're going to talk about follow in a minute. So now you've done the demos, you've left them the brochure that tells them how to get started on it. They've got a brochure about the water. Would you ever leave a brochure, the product brochure, now that you've opened the door?
I always have a product brochure with me, especially if now we've opened the door about other products.
Okay, great. So you do have that there. Now they have the product. I think that's important because you never know. Someone could just flip through the brochure and find another product they become interested in. So I think that's really a key piece. All right, so now we've done the appointment. You're leaving them. They're going to start drinking the water now. And so what I like to think of is now my water is going to work for me. That's how I look at it. It's my employee now is in someone else's home for a whole week. I love that feeling. While I'm out doing other things, my employee is working for me. Do you ever feel that? Have you ever thought of that?
Well, it is. I mean, it's like, because now we have left them with the expectation that they're gonna feel something. They're gonna see a result.
Right. And I just want to touch on one thing. You talked about giafreedom.com and then adding them to the 360 page. Had you not done that earlier, you would do that before you leave to make sure that they get added to 360 and that they know about the Gia Wellness, I mean the GiaFreedom.com, so that they can see the videos about the eye water. And I think this is really important, guys, because just giving the person water, that's great. But when they're drinking the water and they're seeing other stories from other people and some of the documentation about how powerful the water is, it changes. It doesn't change, but it helps their mindset to be open to possibilities. So you want to make sure that's part of it, right?
And one of the things I didn't mention earlier is this really is like our business card that I am leaving. And so on the back, I have not just my contact information, I have on printed labels, GiaFreedom.com.
Okay, great.
So, because a lot of time, people rattle off websites and I don't remember them later, but they can refer back to that.
Correct. Okay, good. All right, so now we've done the appointment and you've left and now they've got the water for a week, 2 gallons. When do you begin your follow-up?
Okay, this is probably the biggest lesson that I have learned is you've gone to not a great expense, a business expense, but you've gone to the time, you've restructured this water, you've done all this. If you don't follow up, like you say, people aren't typically going to come knock at your door. People are probably not going to call me in 2 to 3 days and say, I love that water. Although it has happened. It has happened. Someone called me and said, I need more of that water and more of that red stuff. But typically, you have got to follow up. Otherwise, you may have spent a lot of effort for no reason. And that really is from me, my own personal experience. I have people on my team, we've given away so much water, but if we don't follow up with the people, this process is not going to work as successfully as it could. So I do usually give them like a couple days, and then I just, whether it be Chantel is amazing at this. Chantel was sending text every single day, how are you doing? And really just that we're expecting them to have a result and just checking in. I usually wait about 2 days, and then I will, whether it be text, email, phone call, whatever, your personal relationship is with them and what works best. And then and I let them know when I leave it, I'm going to be following up with you to see how you're doing or if you have any questions.
Okay, great. I'm glad you said that you tell them before you leave what you're going to do so they know what to expect. And you mentioned that you follow up with phone, text, or maybe even on Facebook. Do you ask them what's the best way to follow up with them so you know?
Right. And oftentimes by that time you have a relationship, whether it be through Facebook or a phone or whatever. Like today I'm going to my dad's. Most of those people are older and are not on Facebook, but most of them have an iPhone and they can text,
Okay.
Not my dad. My dad I call. So it just, everybody's different. So whatever their preferred method of communication is.
Yeah, I'm finding that texting and private messaging works so much better than the phone because people don't answer their phones anymore, but they will answer a text. And so you just follow up and say, hey, just checking in, how are you doing today? And really, I think what's important is we want to, first of all, make sure they're actually using the product. We can't assume that they are. And so we want to make sure they're using it and using it correctly. So we answer any of those questions before they become questions. And so you wait a couple days. I would say you could follow up the next day if you wanted to. Maybe late in the day, hey, just checking in, how you doing with your first day? Here's the other thing I think about following up too, is that sometimes you don't know that, like today, I don't know if you know the person very well that you're going to be dropping the water off. Do you know them well?
No, sometimes they're pretty much strangers.
Yeah, so they might be strangers. So your follow-ups and their answers are building a relationship along the way. And I love it because for a whole week, you become friends with the person. And that's another good part of what's going on. Now, let me ask you this. So I'm going to go back to the meeting, and I should have asked you then, but do you ever take a picture of them maybe holding the bottle or?
I try to do that. I try to remind myself. Yes.
Okay, so I think this is important, guys, that you take a picture of them with the gift, whether it's behind the back of your car or at their house. Just take a picture and ask them if it's okay that you post the picture, celebrating their start of using our Operation Hydration, and then go ahead and post it on one of our Facebook groups. You could put it on the 360 group page. You could post it on just about anywhere, but shine a light on the person that's starting the process. Okay, so now we're back to follow up. You've texted them a few times. You might have called them. And then what typically happens during the week?
Well, one of the things I'm following up on is if they're drinking the water, because sometimes, even though they have directions, sometimes people don't keep increasing their water intake. So I'm going to follow up, see if they, want more water, what they've experienced. It's just, like you say, building that relationship and finding, and if, not everybody is going to have an experience with the water, but perhaps I've left a circle and they're like, but that circle, my wrist is doing well. So the more products you leave, the more opportunity that they're going to have a result. So I'm going to be following up on all of those things. And of course, if there's, there's a promotion going on right now, if you're interested, I'll let them know that end of it. If they want more information, more stories, that's when all those opportunities open up for you to share more stories.
So then you've done the follow-up, you've taken a picture when you were there the first time, and now by the end of the week, they've had an experience, let's say with the water or with their back or something, and now you're at pretty much the end of the water process. Do you offer more if they're not ready to join or purchase an iWater system?
I do.
You do? Okay, so how does that work? How does that work?
Well, from then on, they're going to get a water bottle that looks like this. They're not going to get this again, but I will. And that's kind of, I think we all have to judge where they are. I mean, some people you could probably give water forever if they're close by. I have people that I'll leave the water at my front door and they just come by and pick it up and drop off their bottles. And some people sell them. They're like, so I'll give you this many for free. And then, or sometimes what I will do is, well, bring me the water, buy the bottles and drop it off. And, so I'm pretty flexible. It's like whatever works for them. I don't ever want to be like, no, you're done.
Okay, good. So you just continue to help. I mean, really, we're just helping someone.
Exactly.
And many times, eventually, they do become customers.
Almost
always. Time to help them, and then you're calling them up when specials are happening. But you mentioned selling the water. Now, this might be a surprise to some people who are watching this, that you can actually sell the bottles of water. And we do have people to do that. And I've seen people sell a bottle of water between, I think the most I've ever seen is $20 a bottle, and at least it's probably $5. And you may be, while you're watching this, you may be thinking, well, it's just a bottle of water. No, it's magic water. I mean, there's a lot of value just in the water, not counting the time it took you to get the water from the store, to bring it home, to activate it, to do all the things that you do. There's value there. And when you look at what water costs, just a bottle of water compared to what we're talking about, so charging for it is not unusual. It really isn't. And especially if someone wants to continue to use the water. So what you could do is you could set a price, and then they're using the water, and you could say, look, if you ever decide to buy, I'll apply some of this money towards your purchase. Mm-hmm. You could do that. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. Okay, so then you mentioned that about 80% of the people you feel do something. That's pretty nice.
I think it is that, and I know that you've done surveys in the past, and like I said, it depends what I'm giving. Today I'm going to give the spray bottle. The iThrive makes a huge difference. So if you can include, and I try to give at least four or five iThrive packets, people are going to experience the difference. So yeah, they may come on board and go, well, let me just get a bottle of iThrive. But that's opening that door. They become a customer or preferred customer. Like I said, it's just about building a relationship, finding out what's going on in their life, what they have issues with, what their concerns are. And whatever that is, we basically have something for it. So, but this is the beginning of you gave somebody a gift of value, and you've opened up a friendship and a relationship with them.
Yeah. I've talked to Tracy and I've talked to Chantel, who do a lot of Operation Hydration. They believe it's 90% of the people that they do this with become customers or consultants. And that's why we put Operation Hydration into our launch process, how to get someone off to a fast start. Because you can imagine if Karen's getting 80% results with her Operation Hydration, and if she had about 5, 10, maybe 100 people who are out there doing exactly the same thing, you could imagine what that would mean for their business and what it would mean for Karen's. And it's so simple, and it's such a positive gift. So we're not trying to get anything. I mean, really, we're just trying to open the door so people become educated and have an understanding about who GIA is, what the products do, and how they can benefit from it. Karen, any final thoughts before we close this out today?
Well, again, I think want to go back to that it is value, and that was something that I have learned over time is the value of the gift. So really let them know, this isn't just a gallon of water, and let them know the value, and then the follow-up, because you can do all that, but if you don't follow up, unless they have a remarkable result, they may call you, but they're waiting for you to call them, and that's part of a friendship that you're building, is, hey, I'm just following up.
I think
Those would be my 2 tips.
I think the scary part about follow-up is bad news. We're worried about someone not being happy, and that almost never happens. When you give someone a gift and you follow up from giving the gift, is almost never somebody's going to be unhappy about the gift. So it makes follow-up really easy. All right, Karen, I appreciate you so much for doing this. I know it's going to help a lot of people. I'm going to get it out to everyone I know, because I know Operation Hydration is going to be a huge part of our future. Thank you for doing this with me.
Sure. Put a bow on it. We say put a circle on it. Just put a bow on it.
Put a bow on it. Hey, I want to thank all of you who are watching this video and who are out there making a difference. Appreciate you so much. Thanks, Karen.
You got it. See you soon.